At this time, I'll call to order the City of Joliet Pre-Council meeting for December 20th, 2021. The Honorable Mayor Bob Oderkirk presiding. Mayor?
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Oderkirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin has requested that she attend remotely, so I would need consensus for that.
You gonna call the roll?
I can move forward and go back to that.
Okay.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman. Here. Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Okay, so do I have consensus to allow Councilwoman Gavin to attend remotely this evening?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's give IT 1 second to get her remotely via Teams.
Yes, yes, I can, Dan.
Okay. Let the
Do I
record.
need to say present or something?
Yeah, Councilwoman Gavin, I just will mark you present at this time. It is 5:31 p.m.
Thank you so much, and thank you for granting me the access.
First on the agenda this evening is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Tom White.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I won't be able to make it tomorrow night, so I just wanted to touch base real quick. I know there's been a lot of discussion over the last few years on the North Point, and they're gonna bring all these trucks. And I think a lot of the council realizes what's going on here, but in case people in the crowd don't, it's not these intermodal parks that bring traffic. It is the rail yards. The rail yards bring the containers. They have to leave to go somewhere. Whether it's Bolingbrook, Morris, Shanahan, Manuka, they're going somewhere. You guys have 2 rail yards in close proximity to Joliet. This project with North Point is a real feasible option for something to contain some of this traffic. One way or another, you're getting this traffic. UP, Burlington, 1 million lifts a year. Each, that's 2 million lifts a year. That's 4 million truck trips minimum, not counting delivery to the stores. Joliet has almost a responsibility to try to contain as much of that as they can and not get it back on the roads. And I know when I spoke years ago about this, we said either you can contain this stuff, get some tax revenue, provide for your city, or you get the traffic and 0 tax revenue out of this. And I think you guys have been doing so far the responsible thing, trying to corral this somehow. You've got this 900-pound gorilla running around your town, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. And I think this is the smart answer, and I just urge you to vote yes tomorrow for North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doc Gregory.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Doc Gregory, President of Will Grundy Building Trades. Just as Tom stated before, we've been through this with North Point, whether it was for myself in the city. I grew up in the city of Joliet, went to school here, born and raised, and seen this town change. This isn't the big first major significant development that was very controversial. And I'll go back to Louis Mall. Louis Mall was unincorporated Joliet. Back then, Bob Hacker was one of the council persons. He went out, talked to people. People were, that nobody wanted it. Plainfield didn't want it, actually. But that got passed through, you know, about, I don't know, probably 12, 14 years later, they had the riverboat. Nobody wanted the riverboat. Will County voted it down. Mayor Schultz at the time said, come on in. And we've had the riverboat in Joliet. About 4 years later, the racetrack, they came in. I sat here with my father in public hearings on the NASCAR racetrack, and a lot of the farming community down south, they didn't want it. They didn't want to see their land go away. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's come through Joliet that the city council has done the right thing, and that's what I ask you guys to do with North Point. North Point has not, their plan is a very viable plan. They're gonna control the traffic, go through the existing intermodal plants, and you know, they're taking a hit that nobody wants them, you know, out in the public, but they haven't even given them a chance. They're not the developers, they're not the logistic part that started this mess. Joliet didn't start it. They're the one, you guys are the ones that got cleaned this mess up, because it was started in 2004 and they all dumped into Joliet. The municipalities that had the center points then, they dumped all the traffic in there. And you guys have done a fantastic job trying to control traffic. I don't see some of the other municipalities and you know, some of the other logistic parts trying to do anything, make the traffic better. You know, we got the Hobo Bridge, great thing, but there's a lot of, you know, the city put a lot of money, time and effort into it, so did a lot of other investors. So North Point, we have 2 PLAs with them, one for the construction and one for after the construction is done, the maintenance. So it's all 100% union, so anybody says we don't know what we're doing, we've been doing this for a long time, way before me, and you know, it'll continue after me, and we do a pretty good job, I believe, with our partnerships with the City of Joliet, Three Rivers Construction, and the Will Grundy Building Trade. So I urge you guys to vote, and ladies and gentlemen, to vote for North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none?
Before we start, Jim, if I could jump in, I know Megan Miller from the library is here. Obviously, there was an announcement Friday about Star Wars Days that caused quite a stir, including amongst the council. I spoke with Ms. Millen earlier today about what could be done to preserve Star Wars Days, and I invited her to the council. I know she's not on the agenda, but she has her staff here. Could she speak right now?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to address you tonight. So I cannot begin to tell you how amazed I am at the outpouring of support for our event that started so humbly nearly 13 years ago as just a simple summer reading program. Let me tell you, when we had to make this collective decision with our partners, it was not an easy one. We had to choose between presenting a shadow of the former event or canceling based on many factors that have changed all of our organizations since COVID-19. But discovering how beloved this event is to so many people over the last few days, it's important for all of you to know the library stands ready to partner with other agencies to revisit an event in 2022. We'll all do our best to develop a new event that will fill children and adults alike with wonder. One thing that I've learned over the past 5 years that I've been in Joliet is that Joliet pulls together. I'm delighted at all the overtures that I've gotten to help the library put on an event that is really too large and complex for any one agency to produce. And so I look forward to revisiting this opportunity in the new year with any interested partners who may emerge in with the city. So thank you.
And I could say, because I've spoken with them, township government officials have reached out to me. I know I did with the city.
Yes.
So I think between the city center partnership and the chamber and the different entities, I think there should be a way forward. I know privately you expressed some of the challenges, but I do think there'll be a way forward with this. So
I agree, and I'm really excited about what we're going to put together.
thank you. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment. I think it was a total blindside. I heard about it on the radio, and the minute I heard on the radio Friday afternoon, I immediately called the city manager and the mayor. I was beside myself. And then over the weekend, here's the Herald News. Joliet cancels Star Wars. Well, I got calls. What are you guys doing? This is a big event. 10,000 people come. And nobody asked for help. If you were in trouble, you should have asked for help. This is how Joliet works. I know you don't live here. You live in Homewood. It's different here. We come together as a community, always. Everybody loves this event. It's huge. It's one of the biggest events in the United States, and they come from all over the world. To let that kind of revenue go because you guys didn't have any help, but you didn't even bother to ask or give us a heads up, because we give you money. We give the library money, and we floated your $6.5 million bond, which I voted no for, and I'm so glad that I did now that I see how things are run. Because if you're in trouble, you don't ask for help. That's all I have to say. So I hope that we can keep this here, and may the force be with you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Any other comments or questions? All right, well, there'll be more discussion, but thank you for coming tonight, and I appreciate you reaching out earlier today, Megan.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a discussion on the city manager's recommended 2022 annual budget.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I put a corrected sheet in front of you today of the amendments to the city manager's budget. What has changed is the compliance. We will not need 3 vehicles in the capital projects fund. If we're taking compliance out and at the request of the council, we left 1 compliance officer in. I'm also point out that there were 3 compliance officers, not 2 in the original budget, but all the supervisor and 2 compliance officers had been removed. Only 1 is left. Thank you.
Okay, the other thing I'd like to talk about is, Mr. Mayor and council members, is the public information officer. I believe that I've heard back from many of you and your concerns. I'd be more than willing to go out and hire an outside firm to see how this works, as opposed to being committed to a full-time employee and see how it goes from there. I think that that's a way ahead for everyone here, because if it's not working out, we can always either change firms or let them go. But clearly, I think it meets what I believe is your expectations on this.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Councilwoman. So, you know, this is the final budget. So if the council has anything else to say or to add, we have to settle on this tonight. We are under a kind of a deadline here. So I would like, with the changes that Mr. Gadati just mentioned and the ones that we have here, asking for your consent to bring it to a vote on the 27th at a special meeting. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Do you want?
I have a personnel question, which I don't
Sure.
think I can talk about in open session.
Sure.
Okay. You don't or you do?
I don't think I can, I don't think I can name anybody that I'd like to call for closed session and
Well-
ask a couple of those questions.
You want to do it right
Well,
now?
is it about a position that's in the budget that hasn't been filled yet? Because clearly we could talk about that. We're just talking about budget.
Personnel matter.
Personnel matter.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go in now or you want to wait till the end of the meeting?
Either way.
Let's go now.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
Okay. We'll go in the back room.
Okay. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, after which the meeting will reconvene?
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement? Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried. and all members of council are present, and Councilwoman Gavin is present remotely. So we will continue the discussion on the city manager's recommended 2022 annual
Right.
budget.
If it's all right, Mayor, I would ask that we could conduct a quick straw poll to see where we're at on the budget right now, if that's something I would like to have done, so, because we need to kind of settle this stuff. Do we have to, Krista?
We can informally go down the line
Sure.
and
That's
see if
fine.
everyone is in
Right,
favor
just to
on
see
the
if we're-
budget as it is proposed and how Mr. Caprelli and Mr. Gadati have represented the changes this evening. So if there were to be a vote with what's been presented to you, Councilman Clement.
I'm ready to move forward with the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Yes, I'm ready to go forward with the vote.
Councilman Guerrero,
See, we have here changes requested by Mr. Hug about the moving the $500,000 into sidewalk replacement. I think that's a good idea, and I'm ready to move forward with this.
Okay.
I still have the same position. I'm in favor of the majority of the 26 that were left open because of the response to COVID, particularly restocking as many as 20 police officers that we are down. The 34 new positions are, to keep it short, too rich for my blood. We're in the middle of an anomaly. We're not in the middle of a trend, so I wouldn't support it as written, and I don't think it's going to come down to where I need it to be.
I'll speak, yeah. You have reservations because of the gas tax. I think people are getting gouged with inflation. I really want to see that repealed. Having said that, we need a budget, and we have 10 days to get one together. So I also would vote yes, if it comes to me.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Morris,
I'm good.
Councilman Mudrin.
I think there's been a lot of good changes. There's some things that aren't perfect, but no budget's ever going to be perfect. I will support it at this time.
Thank you, Councilman.
Just for clarification again, the PR person, we're getting rid of this $90,000 a year PR person, and we're going to contract out.
That is correct. I will bring a contract to the council, and we'll vote on it just like any other.
Okay, I just wanted that for clarification because I
Yes.
talked about it today.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, Councilwoman.
thank you very much. Then I'm okay with this.
Thank you.
I can support it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we can move on now to the regular scheduled program.
Okay, so you can discuss tomorrow night's items then at this time.
Pardon?
Tomorrow night's items can be discussed and reviewed at this
Yes.
time.
Okay. Let me pull this up. Position vacancies, which are 557-21. There is a Scribner's error here. There's in the police and patrol officer position. It says that there are 3, but we have the number 4. It is actually 4 positions, 3 patrol officers, and because we have 3 retirements and 1 resignation. So we're asking to fill 4 positions on that particular item. The next is a police sergeant position, a police administrator, because that secretary is retiring. The other one is the award of a contract for emergency roof replacement at 815 Campbell Street, in the amount of $56,420. And that is.
Hey, listen, I'm in the middle of a meeting.
Betty, mute your. So,
All right, that is position 558-21. Next is 559-21, which is the award of a contract to repair the old smokestack at Joliet Prison. I know there's been some concerns about this. This is $248,028. This is the low bid. We had maintenance in the fall. So in 2020, there was $200,000 budgeted for prison maintenance. And so funding in the amount of $211,500 will be requested as part of the new budget. And it will be charged to the prison maintenance for $48,000, the $228 dollars. So the bricks are falling off that. We have a lot of visitors there in the prison. It's become a safety issue. We'd like to see money looked at in terms of being able to get some money from either the county or the state, as we are not actual owners of that building, has been pointed out to me, which is completely true. So I just want to mention some of that. Next is 560-21, which is a award for a contract for motor fuel purchases. I believe Councilman Morris, pointed out that there was an error in the initial thing, so it's revised. It would be $3.0580 for grade 2 diesel. I'd like to make a note of that. Next is 561-21, award of a contract for professional services for the design of the water main improvement project in the amount of $38,911.99. Next, 562-21, approval of a lease agreement for public utilities engineering, and that's to remove to the Bay Building. I know that Councilman Mudgeon had some questions about that. We revisited all of that. I had Mr. Conley go out and actually talk to some individuals that weren't aware of this for whatever reason. We looked at those spaces, and we still found that the best deal for the city was the Bay Building, which is $150,000 for a 3-year contract. So it's about, a little bit over $50,000. It's right at $50,000 a year. Next item is change order 1 for the purchase of golf carts for the Public Utilities Division at 563-21. This is in lieu of purchasing additional trucks for the Water Division to drive around. As many people are aware, vehicles are very expensive. This is a much cheaper option to get some golf carts to bridge that gap to get us from point A to point B at the water treatment facilities. Next is 564-21, change order number 2 for the Summit Street Stone Bridge for Tyler Construction in the amount of $23,000, and a payment request for number 4 in the final amount of $58,548.31. Next on the agenda is 565-21, which is a change order 1 for time extension on the lead service line. We were able, as you know, the city of Joliet was proactive back in the 30s. We did not have a lot of lead pipe. While Tyler was working on this, we realized that we had additional funding here left in this budget, so we'd like to extend that area upon which we are replacing the lead pipelines. So this is actually a win for us in that we're getting a bigger bang for our buck here, based on the foresight of our other people who were here before us. Next is 566-21, change order number 1 for lead service replacement phase, and this is the amount of excavating for $126,341.65, and a payment estimate and final amount of $629,939.22. The next is the 567-21, change order number 1 for the Florence Park Phase 1B water main improvements to the project, the branded excavating in the amount of $61,912.23, and a payment estimate for the final amount of $161,007.91. Next, 568-21, which is change order number 1 for the Rewood Phase water main. Again, this is an improvement to the project to the Brandt excavating in the amount of $149,993.92, and the final amount of $176.24. Moving on to license and permit applications. And this is a resolution of an annexation agreement for 61.45 acres. It's 570-21, and this is for Cadence Premier Logistics. The zoning and planning committee have supported this, as does staff. Next is a resolution approving the annexation and development of 571-21, and it's an agreement of approximately 2,179.296 acres with Eastgate Logistics for the company's business park. This has been approved by the Planning Commission and the staff, and it is recommended by the staff that it be approved. Next is 572-21, and it's a resolution approving the annexation agreement for 117.36 acres with Waco Limited Partnerships. And that's part of the agreement to be able to, for them to develop that property going forward. The staff approves that as well, and we would ask that you approve it.
Jim?
Yes, sir.
Regarding the public hearings, just to be clear, we've done this twice before for North Point. We're doing it a third time because of the new change in the plans with the location of the bridge over 53.
That is correct. That's why we thought, just to clear everything up, that this was the right way to move forward, to get it right this time, and not to just try to cobble it together, because when you do that, sometimes you We wanted a cleaner way forward, and this is the best way forward.
Yeah, I don't know if we cobbled anything together because we keep winning in court. But because of the new location, we have to redo it.
Right, that's correct.
Just so I'm clear.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
and we didn't want to just add that on to something else, so we just wanted to redo it.
Mayor?
all.
Yes,
I'm gonna take a moment to interject something. Number one, what people have to realize is whether it's Center Point or North Point, anybody, any project for any purpose, once you approve them, whether it's the lion's share of the development or not, as they add more unincorporated land, every time that they go to incorporate land, you have to have another hearing anyways. It's required that the Plan Commission have a hearing for incorporations. So it's nothing new, it's nothing different, it's nothing odd. I want to take a moment to use an analogy. We've all been contacted by a certain level of people, both for and against the North Point project. And I think, and I've shared this with some of the people, and it seemed to really make sense to some people that are looking at it logically. We have two intermodals down here, one in Elwood and one in Joliet. We do have two more proposed, has nothing to do with us, one in Crete and another one in Shanahan. I liken North Point, Center Point, and the intermodals to imagine that the Illinois, as an analogy, were to pass a law allowing the Chicago Metropolitan, whatever McCormick Place, what's the group that oversees that? If they extended their ability to build other venues and allowed them out of Chicago to build Chicago Bears Stadium in Joliet, without our permission, they wouldn't need to give us our permission because they've been given such power through the state or federal government as it would be with the intermodals. So if you build the Bears Stadium, the Bears say, yeah, we're going to do minimum eight games a year plus many, many other events. And the Bears are going to have 35 to 40,000 cars for every event. Certainly that is football related, but we're going to build 500 parking spaces because we only want to accommodate the parking spaces for our employees, our team members, our staff. So we would all be wondering, the council and the citizens, where are all these cars going to go? A couple of people are entrepreneurial and they start buying up land to build parking lots as close as they can get to this new stadium since there will be no parking. And if there was a public outcry saying those parking lots are going to draw cars down here, that wouldn't be true. It's the stadium drawing the cars down. I think everybody can follow that. If this council were to say no to the parking lots, then the games are going on, the events are going on, the 30, 35, 40,000 cars are coming down here every Sunday, and they're going to be parked hither and yon, middle of the street, maybe in vacant lots, maybe in somebody's front yard who happens to be away for the day, because people are going to go to that game. Those cars are coming. When you take that analogy and you apply it to what would be the logistics industry, the two intermodals, the UP, Union Pacific, and the BNSF, are the Bears Stadium. They're drawing the fans, which are the boxes. Center Point, the proposed North Point project, and many of the dozens of smaller developments that maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings that have been approved by Joliet, Elwood, New Lenox, and all the communities around here, those are the parking lots that are absorbing what is being drawn. And that's the analogy I'm trying to get out there for people. They got it, non-emotional, logical thinking people, when I've explained it to them in the last week or two, they said, okay, now I understand how the intermodal works. And people have to understand, the reason I use the analogy of the state of Illinois gave Chicago the ability to develop down here, even without our permission, and we'd have to respond, is we don't control the intermodals any more than we control farmers. Those are two special classes that are controlled predominantly, if not solely, by the federal government. If you want to stop them, you need to go to the federal government to get some kind of action. And I think it's important to put that analogy out there. And that's all I wanted to comment on. I think it really, it makes a point that people can understand.
thank you.
Hey, Dan,
Yes, Betty?
is Larry still talking? Maybe this mic is off. I can't hear. I was just wondering if Larry was still talking because I couldn't hear from his mic. I can't hear from what he's saying.
Yes, Councilman Hug is finished with his comments.
Can you hear me now, Betty?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Larry. Thank you.
All right, it was just me talking, you didn't miss a lot.
Continuing on, so that was 572-21, the resolution approving the annexation agreement for 117.36 acres with Waka Limited Partnership. Ordinance and resolutions, 574-21, ordinance approving the annexation of 61.45 acres located West Chicago Street and Emerald Drive. Again, this is for Cadence Logistics. Next is 575-21, ordinance approving the classification of 61.45 acres located West Chicago Street and Emerald Drive. Again, Cadence Logistics. Ordinance approving reclassification of 5.436 acres at west side of Chicago Street and Emerald Drive, and that's 576-21, again, Cadence Logistics. Ordinance, item 577-21, ordinance approving the special use permit to allow truck repair, trailer parking, cartilage, and truck trailer repair, including body work and painting, again, Cadence Logistics. 578-21, ordinance approving the annexation of certain contiguous parcels subject to annexation and development agreement with Eastgate Logistics Park. It is recommended that be approved. Ordinance, next is 579-21, ordinance approving and affirming the zoning classification to L1 light industrial zoning of property subject to annexation agreement with Eastgate Logistics Park for the Compass Business Park within the municipal boundaries of Joliet. It is recommended that be approved. Next is 580-21, ordinance approving the annexation of 117.36 acres, subject to an annexation agreement with Waco Limited Partnership. Next, 581-21, ordinance approving a zoning classification of 117.36 acres to L1 light industrial, and that is for the Waco property. Next for resolution, it is 538-21, a resolution approving a cable television franchise agreement between the city of Joliet and Comcast. We collect fees from the city, from Comcast, so it's recommended that we go ahead and agree to that. Next is the 584-21, resolution approving an amendment to the economic incentive agreement with Carmax Auto Stores. Next is the 585-21, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a agreement with the PACE and to apply for grant funds under Title 20 of the Social Security Act. And last is 586-21, a resolution authorizing the approval and execution of an employment agreement for the position of city manager with myself, James Caparelli. Next would be city manager comments. I just want to make a couple of things going forward for tomorrow. I want people to be aware that during the public comment tomorrow, as long as we have a quorum here in the room at any particular time, that's all that's required. So if this may go fairly long, I anticipate from time to time that council members or members of staff may need to excuse themselves temporarily for whatever reason. And as long as we maintain a quorum here, I want people to know that this doesn't affect the outcome of the vote or anything like that, but there just has to be a quorum here a couple times. So I would ask that the council members do a quick count before you get up and leave, and make sure that we have enough folks here at any particular time. If you decide to excuse yourself to grab a quick bite to eat here or to use the restroom or whatever, for whatever reason. So with that concludes my comments.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.